See if that'll stay. All right. Hello, we are live. I hope you guys are having a great week and happy Tuesday. I'm gonna let my dog in real quick, she's barking. Come on, Nola. I got the puppy in the crate, she's up there barking, so we'll see how this goes. But for those of you guys who are new here, hello, I'm Kate Horning. I am a chef, I'm a nutritionist, I am the creator of A Healthy Passion, which is a meal planning app that I created to help you guys know exactly how to eat for carb cycling. So there is a free trial at the top of this group, but when you sign up for A Healthy Passion, you put in your information, it lays out your numbers for you, and then we've got a lot of auto features that make it really easy to build a meal plan with a click of a button. So all the recipes in there are the ones that I make live here, so they're all simple, they're quick, they're healthy, and today is a low carb day in the Trim Bootcamp world. So today's recipe is going to be low carb. So if you're looking for some low carb recipes, stick around. We are making some stuffed poblanos. So I love poblano peppers. They're kind of a fun take on stuffed peppers. They're a little smokier, a little spicier, but they don't have a lot of heat. So I think they're a really family-friendly pepper. And we're going to stuff them with some ground beef, some veggies, and top them with some pico. So if you guys want to cook with me, I'm going to dive into what we've got ingredients-wise. As always, the full recipe will be in A Healthy Passion. Typically, I add them a week after. So if you guys are like, I want amounts, I want measurements, I typically will test them and refine them, and then I'll add them to A Healthy Passion. So if you're a subscriber, you get access to that. And I just sent out 3 new recipes this week, and I'm trying to think of anything that I cooked last week was in there. The spring rolls were, but that was from a couple weeks ago. So if you're a subscriber, take a peek at that email. It's got some good stuff. Okay, so if you guys want to cook this recipe with me, you need, first things first, poblanos. And I actually have had mine in the oven for about 10 minutes, starting to get soft. So these are from my garden. They're probably about half the size of a normal one. So I would say 2 large poblanos. I'm actually gonna make extra of this recipe and add rice for regular macro days. So that's why I have so many, but 2 large poblanos or 4 small ones. And then you're going to need beef. I've just got ground beef here, 80-20. You could use turkey as well. You're gonna need some cilantro, chipotle chili and adobo, which is gonna give a spicy, smoky, sort of rich chipotle flavor. So good. Some vegetable stock. Some fajita seasoning or taco seasoning. Some garlic, some onion, some lime, some Roma or San Marzano tomatoes, and then some cheddar cheese. And then pantry items, we've got Celtic salt, red pepper flakes, tomato paste, and olive oil. So we're gonna start by building the filling first, and essentially we're gonna fill these, bake them, and then make a nice kind of salsa, fresh salsa for on top. So it's gonna give it that a little bit of fresh element, which I sometimes crave on low carb days. I find it can be a little heavy, so I really enjoy having a lot of freshness. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna cut the onion, and I'm going to do about, I would say 3/4 of the onion. We're gonna save about 1/4 of it for our pico or our fresh salsa, but the other part we're gonna actually put into the sauce for the stuffed peppers. And if you guys have never had a poblano before, I would definitely recommend giving them a try. If you can't find them, you can substitute a green bell pepper or a red bell pepper. Any bell pepper will do. So they're just kind of a fun alternative. You know, I just like to switch things up. I find as you continue living a healthy lifestyle, you got to keep it exciting. You got to keep it new, and that's something that I really try to do with A Healthy Passion is, you know, keep it simple, but also introduce you guys to new ingredients that you might fall in love with. And you can find poblanos pretty much anywhere, so it's not like a tough ingredient to find. And I will say that is like the #1 thing our subscribers say, is that they love that A Healthy Passion keeps things exciting. It keeps them trying new things. So again, if you guys are looking for a simple app that just helps make it easy to know what to eat, gives you new fresh ideas, organizes everything, definitely give A Healthy Passion a try. I add 3 new recipes every single week. And inside of the app, there's also a membership, so you can learn how to meal plan. We archive all of the old done for you meal plans, so there's a lot of resources to help make meal planning easier. Because I know we're busy, and I know that you all want to eat healthy, but sometimes it can be challenging when you're busy to figure out, okay, what do I eat? And then once you figure out what to eat, what ingredients do I need? do I have everything at home? So that's why I created a healthy passion, was just make all that simple. So onions going in, and I love to add my salt right when I add my onions in. And what that does is it draws out the moisture and sort of allows the onion to caramelize versus brown. So it's a really great way to soften your onions. 2 garlic cloves, I'm gonna give those a whack. Give them a peel and just a rough chop, toss them in. And we've got, if you guys like stuffed peppers, a lot of stuffed peppers recipes in a healthy passion because I love them too. So you'll just go into the browse or the planner and just type in peppers or stuffed peppers, and they'll pop right up for you. Okay, thin sliced garlic cloves. And basically we're just gonna soften the garlic with the onion. Really, really simple. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get my beef. I've got a half pound of beef here. I'm just using half of it. I'll save the rest of it for burgers later in the week. But I'm gonna get that in here. In a second, I just wanna put it on a plate so I can wash my hands. Or a bowl. That'll do. If you guys are on here live, let me know what you're eating for dinner. Let me know if there's any recipes or ideas you'd like to see. I had a couple requests last week, and they're on my list, so don't think I forgot about you. All right, and then about a tablespoon of fajita seasoning. I'm just gonna get that ready. So basically we're gonna sweat our garlic and onion just barely, just enough to sort of soften it, and then the beef's gonna go in. And while that's happening, I'm gonna take my poblanos and just open them up. And if you want to peel, when you do roast them, if you get that like sort of little membrane, you can always peel that off too. You don't have to, but you can. I think I have a recipe in a healthy passion where I stuff poblanos with eggs. That one's really delicious. So I'm just going to puncture them and kind of let the steam out to make them a little easier. And then all you want to do is you want to take the seeds out to make them easy to fill. And I'm just cutting them kind of right down the center there. You could also cut the top off if you want and stuff them that way, but I just find they look really pretty with everything kind of falling out. Okay. And some of the ones that went a little longer, obviously the skin's coming off a little easier. But like I mentioned, you don't have to take it off. Okay. They smell so good. If you guys like any sort of Mexican flavors, this one's for you. I don't know about you, but I have a weakness for anything. Fajitas, some salsa. Mexican's probably up there with my favorite cuisine. Okay, so that smells good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the beef in. I'm gonna cook that. I'm just gonna get in here and sort of break it up. And then I'm gonna season it with Celtic salt. So you wanna season every layer of your dish. Kind of break it up and incorporate that onion and that garlic. Smells so good already. There's nothing better. Onions and garlic. I love it. Fajita seasoning's gonna go in. So good. I'm gonna reduce the heat a little bit. I had it on like medium high. I want like a medium heat here. I want to overdo it. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, so now I'm gonna add in my tomato paste. So I'm using about a tablespoon of tomato paste and water. You could also use tomato sauce. I don't know. I had tomato paste and I was like, I'm gonna go with it. So that's what I'm using. Again, if you have tomato sauce, you want about a 4-ounce can would probably be ideal, but. And I like to actually cook my tomato paste a little bit when I add it. I find this helps to make it so that it sort of makes the flavor a little richer. And I'm using up this tube, so I'm just gonna add whatever I've got. But about a tablespoon will do. And then the next thing I wanna do is my chipotle chili. And if you've never used chipotle chili in adobo, they're spicy. They've got a lot of heat. I'm gonna add 2. But if you don't like a lot of spice, I would just add 1. But I love them because they're kind of smoky. That adobo sauce really gives a depth of flavor that makes it taste like it's been cooking for a long time. And because so many of our recipes are so quick, I tend to really want to make sure that, you know, you really layer those flavors, you infuse the flavors, and you make them so that they're really developed. And you can do that by adding sort of things like tomato paste that's been stewed down for a long time, or chipotle chilies and adobo. Things that have a lot of flavor will really impart that flavor into the dish. So I'm going to take the chipotle chilies out of the can here. And you'll see there's like a little sauce on them. I'm leaving that on there. And I'm just going to sort of roughly chop them. And then scoop everything into my skillet. Looks really good. Okay. And this you can store in the fridge for, I want to say, a couple of months. It's pretty easy to keep on hand. Or if you're not going to use it, you can pop it in the freezer. And it'll last 6 months in there. But I keep it in the fridge and it lasts several months. And then you can just add it to things like chili. I have a vegetarian chili recipe and a healthy passion that's really good that uses chipotle chilies. I need to use more recipes now that I have a can open. Maybe I'll be bringing them back so we can make sure we use our cans up. All right, so a little more salt. And then I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of water. And that's just going to give it some moisture. And I'm going to let this cook for, I don't know, a minute or two, just to reduce that and kind of thicken it up a little bit. And while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get my ribs out of my poblanos. So you can use a spoon for this. Like I said, I kind of slid them to let them cool while I was talking, and then I'm just going to go in here and just kind of peel. And I like to actually slit them right down the center, and then I go like this in a T, and then you can sort of peel that back, and it makes it really easy to get to those seeds. And then you're just going to get in there and scoop them out. And again, these guys are tiny, so it's a little more tedious. If you just have 2 big ones, it's not as big of a deal to get in there. But you just want to get those seeds out. You can also, like I said, cut the tops off and do them that way. I just like the way they look when they're stuffed. And if you're like, okay, this is really taking a while, you can rinse them under water, and that will also get the seeds out a little more quickly. I'm just going to lay them on a baking sheet open. So I'm going to do the next one, just a little T, and then peel it back, and then get in there and slice till the seeds pop out. And these aren't spicy like jalapeno seeds, so you don't have to worry about getting every last one either. I just, more for texture, to be honest. I don't want them in there, but they smell so good. And you can see my sauce is reducing a little bit. It's infusing all that yummy flavor into that beef. And then basically we're just going to stuff these and top them with cheese and bake them and then make that salsa. So really, really simple. If you guys are, you know, coming home after a busy weeknight, you could do this in advance and just bake them off just before serving, or you could make the salsa in advance and just do the filling when you get home. These also would probably freeze really well, so, you know, double your recipe. I'm a big fan of, you know, thinking about how can I really stretch what I make. So if you guys are the type that you like to freeze things, these would be a great thing to double and keep in the freezer and then just bake them off right before. Okay, so I'm knocking the seeds out. This guy. And if you guys don't even want to bake these ahead of time, you don't have to. I tend to like to bake my stuffed peppers just a little bit before, maybe like 5-10 minutes just to soften them up, but you don't have to. It just depends on how soft you like your pepper. Dang, this one's hot still. Alright. And actually that one's kind of spicy too, which I'm wondering why. You can kind of smell them. I'm curious to know if you guys are a Healthy Passion subscriber, if you've made the turkey nachos. Someone posted those today. I forgot about them. And they're a good low carb. They're basically like a nacho that's made from bell peppers instead of like tortilla shells. So it's kind of a fun take on nachos. Okay, those look good. Rinse off my hands. And our meat has kind of reduced down a little bit. Again, you're going to have a little bit of extra juices, but I'd rather have that than dry peppers. So there we go, there we go. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this spoon and clean it off, and I'm going to grab my And I've got my oven, like I mentioned earlier, 400 degrees. That's what we're baking these at. Try to clean off my space a little bit. And these are great because really there's no mess. Once you pop them in the oven, you've got one skillet, you've got your bowl. So I'm going to... And my little guys are tiny. I was waiting for them to get bigger, but I mean, they've been on my plant for like a month, like kind of about the same size. So I don't know how big they're supposed to get or what, but I'm like dying for these babies to get bigger, but we're gonna work with them. So then you're just gonna stuff your filling in. And I like to get them pretty well filled. I don't mess around. I'm only gonna do, let's see, so I'm gonna save a couple to put the rice in. So I'm just gonna do 4 right now. I'm waiting on my rice to cook. So I'm going to fill them up pretty well. You know, I like them to be full. Again, if you're using larger ones, you can fit a lot more. You just want to stuff them in there and get some of that liquid, some of that sauce. Make sure you get all those chipotle chilies. You can almost like peel back the pepper to really stuff it in there good. It's kind of a fun thing to do. And if you guys don't like to touch hot things, I would definitely let the filling cool a couple minutes before stuffing your peppers. You know what, I think I'm just going to do 2 for now, and then I will do the rest of them when the filling cools, because definitely burning my hands. Okay, so I'm going to stuff this guy a little more, and then we're just going to top him with cheese. So pretty simple, pretty easy, and you can always taste your filling and make sure it's where you want it, and season it up. That's another tip, is when you guys are cooking, like taste as you go. Obviously you can't taste raw things, but things like this that are cooked, feel free to taste as you go. That way you make sure it's seasoned, because when you pull it out of the oven, it's hard to add salt into that meat. All right, it's a lot of washing hands. So I'll show you guys here. And you can add some cilantro in here too. That's something that I have here that I did not add. I'm gonna add it into the salsa, but now we're just gonna take our cheddar cheese and I'm just going to get on there. And the cool thing about low carb days is that you can have more fat. So I really take advantage of that, and I enjoy my cheese because I love cheese. So if you guys are like me and you like cheese, add it in on those low carb days. And we're not using a lot of cheese here, maybe like a tablespoon on each one. So 2 tablespoons per portion. And this, like I mentioned, it's just 1 portion. You can see I've got a good bit left. I'm gonna add rice to that and do my regular macro day recipe, and I'll probably add a little less cheese. Okay, so that is the poblanos. So I'll show you guys what they look like. I know it's kind of hard to see, so I'm gonna bake these just so the cheese gets melty because everything else is cooked. So maybe like 5 minutes, not long. And while that happens, I'm going to make my pico. So I'm gonna just clean up my space a little bit. I'm not a cook that can deal with a messy space. I can be a messy cook, but my cutting board has to be spotless. Like I can't have a bunch of clutter on it. So move this out of the way. This is my trash bowl. And that's another little tip is you guys, if you have a little bowl, keep it beside your cutting board. You can throw your trash. That way you're not always looking for the trash. Okay, so I've got some San Marzano tomatoes here because that's what I'm growing in my garden. But Roma tomatoes would work. Any tomato, honestly. You could use cherry tomatoes for this. Anything you got on hand. And we're just gonna make a really simple 4-ingredient pico. So we're gonna use some onion, some lime, some cilantro, and some tomatoes. And this is just kind of, like I mentioned, a fresh topping to put on top of the poblanos just to make them look really pretty and to get some extra veggies in, because I always see when I'm checking nutrition for trim, a lot of ladies are low on fiber on low carb days because they fill up on a lot of meat and a lot of cheese and stuff like that. And so I like to really see, you know, still incorporating those veggies, and that's what pre-planning really helps, to make sure that you can get those veggies in, hit those calories, but also stay under net carbs. And if you guys want to learn how to pre-plan, we teach that inside of A Healthy Passion. So if you're like, I like the idea of meal planning, but I'm not sure where to start, I do a whole training inside of A Healthy Passion membership where you can learn how to pre-plan, how to start meal planning. And I will tell you all, I'm that girl who loves to wing it, but life has just been busy lately, and I was finding a lot of nights my husband and I would just stare at the fridge like, what's for dinner? Oh, we'll have a cauliflower crust pizza, or oh, we'll order Chinese food. So I have started planning out about 5 days. I plan Monday through Friday, and then I leave the weekends flexible, and it has made all the difference in the world with our stress levels. We're eating healthier. We're not wasting money. Those Costco cauliflower crust pizzas are so darn good, but man, you know, you eat those twice a week and they get a little pricey. And again, they're not good for you. Processed food just isn't the same as cooking from scratch. And if you have simple recipes like this, like, there's no reason why you can't cook from scratch. Okay, my white onion is gonna go in. You can also use red onion in this recipe. I just did white because that's what I've got. But I'm going to just finely dice it, finely chop it. I like onion, but I don't like a ton of it. So I put most of it in the filling, and then whatever's left, you can put on top. I am saving a little bit of it because I'm gonna make a little more pico, but again, y'all don't need to see me doubling everything. I'm trying to just show you all how quick this can be, and me making 6 portions isn't as quick as 2. Okay, so then some zest is gonna go in. I don't think I have another zester right here, so we're gonna use the cheese one of our lime. This is gonna add freshness, it's gonna add flavor, and if you guys haven't ever used the zest of your lemons, your limes, your oranges, that is where a lot of the flavor is. That's where all the oil is in the citrus, so definitely don't waste that. So good. Lime zest, lime juice. I think I have a little juicer. Oh, of course, it's already all the way across the kitchen. So I'm gonna add that in there. So fresh, it smells so good. Okay. And then some cilantro. And if you don't like cilantro, you can skip it. You can use parsley, you can use basil. But I like a lot of it. About a 1/4 cup. It's gonna go in. And then Celtic salt. Red pepper flakes. I like it spicy, so I'm gonna have a good bit. And olive oil. I'm gonna give that a toss, and that, you guys, is our quick pico. How good does that look? Okay, peppers should be good, or close, so I'm gonna take a peek at them. If you're in a hurry, you can always broil them to kind of speed up the process. That's another way to cook them, but actually I can smell them and they smell so good. You grab a plate and show you all. This is gonna look like when it's all done. And again, if you guys want the full recipe, like typically when I make these, it's an idea. If it turns out good, I retest it, take pictures, then put it in HP. So if you guys want the full recipe all written out, all the details, it will be in a Healthy Passion here soon. So there's the pepper. Grab a spoon, top it with some of that pico. So fresh, so delicious. And if you like it spicy, you can even add a little bit of hot sauce on top. And I'm gonna leave it as is. And then I'm actually serving it tonight with our low sugar wine Bookbinder Apprentice. This is a $17 bottle of wine, 0 grams of sugar, 0 carbs. So good. It's bold, it's big. It's gonna pair really well with these big flavors. And there you go, guys. So if you make this recipe, make sure you take a picture, share it in the group. I'd love to see it. Keep an eye out for a Healthy Passion. It'll be in there here in the coming weeks. And I'm going to make a vegetarian version here as well while I've got everything going on. So if you don't eat meat, I've got a rice and bean version as well. So thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you guys tomorrow at 5:30. I'm making a fresh tomato sauce pasta. I posted the ingredients, I think, earlier today. So if you guys want to cook with me, check it out, get those ingredients, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.